Terrell here from Around the Geek, and today I got David here. How you doing, David?
Not too bad, not too bad.
We figure we're gonna do something new for you guys. I really haven't seen too much of it, me personally, of anybody talking about the Wheel of Time. And if you guys didn't know, Around the Geek is with Big Gold Bell Media, and I was able to do the first 6 episodes. And I put a review that did, numbers from that because everybody loves the Wheel of Time. This is actually my first introduction to the Wheel of Time. I know nothing about this outside of what Amazon has given me. But I brought, we got you in because you read the books, you're the expert here. So I figure, we do a thing where, I kind of give my opinion. You just kind of give me kind of like what the books were doing different, and kind of like you said, our expectations and like our overall impressions of the show, the first episode, stuff like that.
Yeah, awesome.
So it should be pretty good. Like I said, I was able to watch the first episode. The first episode is called Leavetaking. And like I was able to, so pretty much general synopsis is like the character Moraine comes into town and she is looking for what they call from what I know, the dragon. I still kind of confused as to what the dragon is. I'm guessing I'm like, is it an all-powerful wizard? Is it a little dragon? But they're looking for this person that is basically the one that's gonna, I guess, save this realm and like whatever's supposed to be going on. And the first episode starts off pretty brutal. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so. Oh, and at this point, guys, if you didn't know, we are doing spoilers. So
Yeah.
every one of these episodes,
you've had a month. That's
right.
You've had a month, and then the books have been out for 30 years. You've had plenty of time. So
right. So pretty much like what do they call orcs or what are they?
They're pretty much orcs. They're called Trollocs, and so they have been created back in the Age of Legends. They're sort of a mix between man and a lot of different kinds of beasts. I think it's one of the really highlights of the show has been seeing these Trollocs, and they did a really great job. If you look at some of them, each one has a different facial type feature. Just from off the top of my head, I remember seeing you've got eagles, you've seen some wolves, some pigs, some goats. It's been really great seeing all the different types of creatures that they put in there, and just really staying true to that part of the world.
No, I mean like that seems pretty dark too. So I mean, like, I have to watch it again, but you really couldn't see too much that was going on outside of like the flame lit like.
It's definitely, if you're not looking for it, it's definitely hard to see. I would say I think as good of a job as they did with it, their filming of it could have been a little bit better, a little bit clearer. My wife was watching it with me. She had some issues with it just in general. She said, despite the fact that they're all real prosthetic costumes that these guys are in, they look a little computer generated, which is really just sad when they went to all this work with all the costumes and whatnot, that it still looks computer generated because they do like the ramping where they make them extra fast, or they slow, they do like the slow motion. It's just, there's little details like that I really liked, but I think the Trollocs overall, I'm glad they aren't as prevalent in the later episodes.
No, like I said, I was talking about that one scene. Like I said, she's coming in to her and her, what do they call it? Like, it's like her guardian. I feel like I'm missing like all the terminology like over the.
It's Lan is her warder, and they also sometimes refer to them as a guidane or a guidine.
Okay, yeah.
Which that's the old tongue. They're sort of like we would think of it as like Latin. If they were speaking about it in Latin, they'd call it their guidine. And sometimes they'll just refer to him as Guidine, and she's an Aes Sedai. So that's their old tongue names. So it's Moraine Sedai and Lan Guidine.
So they go by like titles.
Like they sort of work as titles for them. And they're sort of general titles that you could. Sorry.
I kept trying to figure out if that was her last name or what, because they kept saying it so much. I was like, am I missing something? Because they had referred to another character as an Aes Sedai, and I'm like, oh, okay. Like, oh, okay, now I get it. So
yeah.
What were your like first episode? Like, what would you say? Like your first impressions? Like, what you think?
So
coming through the gate, Amazon's first.
Yeah, It was definitely so. I've been reading the series for 15 years. Started in high school, and I've just loved the books ever since. I've it's just always been part of my growing up and my adulthood.
Right.
And I've read the whole series, all 4 million words, about 4 times now at this point, not including partial read throughs. And so I love it. And so when I heard 2 years ago Amazon was going to be doing this, I was hyped. And so I've been on this roller coaster for 2 years, COVID shutting it down, and never quite knowing when we were going to actually get it. So, yeah, November, sitting down to watch those first 3 episodes. It was great. There's obviously, and I know for anybody watching who has read the books, there are big changes to the series. We have Perrin. He's one of my favorite characters. Always been one of my favorite characters. He's got a wife now, which that's not in the books. That was definitely a little weird to see that, and especially if you watched the episode, spoilers, him killing her at the end was a very difficult scene to watch, especially because of
his girlfriend in the show. Maybe I missed that. Was his wife in the book, or was his wife in the show as well?
That was his wife in the show. Yeah, again, they had she wasn't there a whole lot of time, was she? Right. So they could have done that a little bit better, I think. Obviously, if I was the director, I would have made some different choices there. If I was the writer, I would have made some different choices. But at the end of the day, I have to look at it as this is the show we're getting, and I like the character of Perrin is being led down the same paths that we see in the book. He's one of his main things, and we see it in this first episode, is he's worried about his strength. He's worried about he's always been a big guy, and he's worried about hurting people, and we see that very viscerally in him killing his wife, and that is an extremely terrible event, obviously, and you can see that. I hope we see more of it from him, but it's one of those things that definitely is going to guide his path for the rest of the show, and that's exactly the kind of thing that I want to see, because that's something, especially as a bigger guy. And when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, like that was definitely something that I connected with, was this idea of being worried about hurting other people, and being worried about accidentally doing something even though I wasn't trying to hurt somebody. Right. And that's a struggle that's very close to my heart. So while and I think that goes for a lot of different changes. I go through, there are people who've done, I've seen 30, 40, 50-minute videos talking about all the different changes in each episode. I don't think we don't need to rehash all those points.
No.
For me, I see it as, I think Perrin's a perfect example. Like, yes, it's different. It's not the same story that I read in the books, but I take that as a good thing. I've read the books 4 times. I love the books, and I can always go back and read them again. I'm so excited to get to see a different, these same characters I like, these same characters taking the same sort of paths, but being faced with different choices, and getting to see them make, what sort of choices are they going to make faced with these different things. So,
what do you think about the decision to make this week to week versus like just giving it to you all at once?
I definitely think I think streaming companies have learned, like, you gotta space it out. Like, there's a reason why week to week works better. Like, it keeps it in people's minds. Right. We're if they'd released it all at once, we would already be on to the next thing. We'd already be on to whatever the next new show was coming out here. And so I think it's good that they're doing it. I'd love to watch it all at once and be able to watch it again and again and again. But I think in terms of keeping the show relevant, I think it's much more important that we get it week to week.
I'm honestly surprised with Rosamund Pike, who plays Moraine, to even be in a show like this. Like, she seems like, not that she would be above it, but like, this doesn't seem like something that she would do. You know what I mean?
I had the same thought when I first saw her named, and then I was watching the End of the World, Simon Pegg movie, part of the Cornello trilogy, and she's in there busting robot heads, alien robot human heads open, and doing a great job in there. So I think after seeing that, I was like, all right, I feel a little more comfortable with her. I think she's going to take it. She's going to be able to play well, and she's done such a good job. Like, I think she's really carried this character. She made her come to life, and I have to give. I've tweeted it several times, but I think Daniel Henney, his portrayal of Lan and just the relationship between him and Rosamund Pike has just been amazing. I think
definitely good chemistry just off that first episode.
I think it was 5 minutes into this show when Lan and Moraine are standing up on that cliff watching the man below them be gentled, and Moraine tells him we're going to the Two Rivers, and he disagrees with that, and he's like, "Are you sure?" Asking her why, and just this little like frown he gives her and like shake of the head, and then he turns and gets on his horse. I was like, oh, it's such a Lan reaction, and it's the smallest little thing. It's nothing that anybody who's never seen the show, never read the books or anything, they're not going to see that until they go back and watch it, after the 8th season is done, several years from now. But I think it captured that character. When I saw that, I was just like, oh, Daniel Henney has won me over right there.
Now, was there? I don't want to get too long into this, but like, was there anything this first episode that was majorly different from the book that people might have missed, or that you think you might have wanted to see that wasn't in the book?
So the whole way the show works is completely different from the book. In the book, it's all focused on Rand and or a little bit of Perrin, a little bit of Matt, right. But it's basically told from the farm boy's perspective. So at the same time, Rand's not a very active character. He's very much a character in this first book, at least, who has things happen to him. So I think it makes perfect sense. Let's get the active character. Let's get Moraine. Let's focus on her. Let's tell an exciting story, not a story of things happening to someone. And so I think it makes, that's a big change, and it will change how the story's told. But I think it's a good change. I think it makes the show work better.
Okay. Anything else that you might want to say on this last episode before we close this one out?
No, I think I really enjoyed the first episode. To anybody who's read the books and has not been sold on the show, I really encourage you, just give it another shot. Try to go in there, maybe get a couple drinks in you, give it a shot, and just try to let your preconceived notions about it go. And for those new to the world, same thing. Just come in. It's a fun show. Definitely, it's not the new Game of Thrones. It's something different. I would say it's better in the sense that it's not as dark. It's not as grim dark. The world we've been living through, we need something with a little bit of hope to it, and I think this show will offer that. So get on in.
Right. Well, on that note, we're gonna end this one, and we can come back with episode 2. See you guys.